everyone. Welcome to November and with it the book of the month picks. It is very windy outside, so apologize if you hear any of that sound. But let's get into the November options. So I haven't looked at these at all yet. I just saw they came out. So let's just go on this one first. It looks like there's 5 choices. So the first one is The Road of Bones by Demi Winters. Says grab your cape and hop on the Viking mercenary wagon. Ooh, this sounds really interesting already. We're hitting the creature-infested, killer-filled Road of Bones. This sounds actually like right up my alley. 400 plus pages, first in a series, multiple viewpoints, and salacious. Let's look at the synopsis. Scylla Nordvig is running for her life. The Queen of Isildur has sent warriors to bring Scylla to Sunavik, where death awaits her. When her father is killed, his last words set Scylla on a perilous quest. Travel the treacherous Road of Bones, a 1,000-mile stretch haunted by war bands, creatures of darkness, and a mysterious murderer, and go to Copa, where a shield house awaits her. After barely surviving the first stretch of road, a desperate Scylla sneaks into a supply wagon belonging to the notorious Blood Axe crew. To make it to Copa, she must win over Axe Eyes. I don't know if I like that. The brooding leader of the crew, while avoiding the wolf. Oh, like the big bad wolf? His distractingly handsome right-hand man. Oh, okay. But the Queen's ruthless assassin has other plans and hunts Scylla obsessively. Will Scylla make it safely to Copa, or will she fall prey to the perils of the Road of Bones? I don't know about his name being Axe Eyes. I guess maybe is it kind of like um Mad Max or something, where it's like weird names. Does sound very interesting. There are content warnings, mentions domestic abuse. Fantasy. I don't know. That one sounds interesting, but let's see the other ones. Dirty Diana, literary fiction, also debut by Jen Besser and Shauna Fest. An intimate, provocative look at desire, art, and unfulfilled fantasy through the lens of one woman's waning marriage. Feminist, marriage issues, nonlinear timeline, and extra spicy. Whoa. I don't know, that kind of doesn't sound like something I would typically read, but let's read the synopsis. Diana Wood has a job she likes and a husband, Oliver, she loves. Together they have a daughter they adore. She and Oliver spend so much time together that they even carpool to work in the same office. They're in married love, which isn't exactly the same as love, but it's fine. Or is it? Is fine good enough? Diana and Oliver haven't had sex in months, and their intimacy seems more like a memory than a reality. The cozy trappings of Diana's life in Dallas, Texas have become ever more confining. She is restless, growing more distant from Oliver by the day. A trip to see an old friend in Santa Fe prompts Diana to remember the woman she used to be, an aspiring artist, someone devoted to creativity, spontaneity, and sensuality. In her past, especially with Jasper, the dashing photographer with whom she once had an unforgettable love affair, Diana let herself fantasize, she let her body lead the way. She was wholly alive. Returning to Dallas, Diana decides to rediscover the deeply feeling woman she once was. She begins interviewing other women, painting their portraits as they speak. She encourages them to give voice to their secret desires as she captures their deepest, innermost fantasies. But is it possible for Diana to reclaim her most sensual self and maintain the marriage she committed to? What if reconnecting to her own desires means dissolving the safe life she's so carefully cultivated? No content warnings. Actually, this does sound like really interesting, but I don't know if I want to own it. But it is a pretty cover too, so that's a possibility. Dinner for Vampires. Okay. Life on a Cult TV Show. I've heard of this one. It's a memoir. This could be good, by Bethany Joy Lenz. You won't be the same after this candid behind-the-scenes look at the One Tree Hill stars' experience surviving a cult. That is crazy. I never watched One Tree Hill, though, so I'm not sure if I would get the memoir, but could still be an interesting read. It's family drama, marriage issues, buzzy, and coming of age. In the early 2000s, after years of hard work and determination to break through as an actor, Bethany Joy Lenz was finally cast as one of the leads on the hit drama One Tree Hill. Her career was about to take off, but her personal life was slowly beginning to unravel. What none of the show's millions of fans knew, hidden even from her co-stars, was her secret double life in a cult. An only child who often had to fend for herself and always wanted a place to belong, Linz found the safe haven she'd been searching for in a Bible study group with other Hollywood creatives. However, the group soon morphed into something more sinister, a slowly woven web of manipulation, abuse, and fear under the guise of a church covenant called the Big House Family. Piece by piece, Linz began to give away her autonomy, ultimately relocating to the family's Pacific Northwest compound, overseen by a domineering minister who would convince Linz to marry one of his sons and slowly drain millions of her TV income without her knowledge. That's insane. Family minders assigned to her on set, Maoist struggle session inspired meetings in the basements of a filthy house, and regular counseling with leadership were just part of the tactics used to keep her loyal. Only when she became a mother did Linz find the courage to leave and spare her child from a similar fate. After nearly a decade, and with the unlikely help of a One Tree Hill superfan, she finally managed to escape the family's grip and began to heal from the deep trauma that forever altered her relationship with God and her understanding of faith. No trigger warnings? That's kind of insane to me that there's no trigger warnings, but that seems like really interesting, actually. I would love to read that. I'm not sure I'll make it like my book of the month, but I definitely want to read it, maybe like from the library. P.S. I Hate You, romance. Okay. I don't know, I already don't like the title though. By Lauren Connolly. To honor her late brother's wish, a woman must road trip with a former flame turned sworn enemy. Cue all the feelings. Oh, so enemies to lovers. Emotional, salacious, 400 plus pages, and road trip. Maddie Sanderson would be proud to honor her older brother's dying wish that she scatters his ashes over 8 destinations that the adventurous 29-year-old never got to visit before he died from cancer. But in his will, Josh assigned her an impossible partner to help complete the mission, Dominic Perry. Seriously, if Maddie weren't already at her brother's funeral, she would have killed him for this. Sure, Dom was Josh's lifelong best friend. He's also the infuriating man who broke Maddie's heart back when she was naive enough to give it to him. But since Dom insists on following the rules and Josh didn't leave much room for Maddie to argue the matter, they embarked together on a series of farewell trips that span thousands of miles, exploring new places and revisiting their complicated history along the way. After a snowstorm leads to a shared bed, of course, Maddie starts to wonder if her brother might be matchmaking from the grave. But when grief also reopens old wounds between them, Maddie will need more than Josh's ghostly guidance to trust Dom again. Oh. No content warnings. That sounds like interesting. Again, I don't know if I'd want to make it my book for the month, but it does sound like a cute something to read. Maybe from the library. Last option is Fantasy, The Teller of Small Fortunes. I love this cover. It's so pretty. By Julie Leong. In this magical story, a group of lovable misfits look for their place in the world and discover it with each other. Oh. LGBTQ plus themes, quest, magical, and cozy. Oh, I think this could be a really good read, although sometimes I don't like cozy fantasy, but the rest of it I think I would love. Tao is an immigrant fortune teller traveling between villages with just her trusty mule for company. She only tells small fortunes, whether it will hail next week, which boy the barmaid will kiss, when the cow will calve. She knows from bitter experience that big fortunes come with big consequences. Even if it's a lonely life, it's better than the one she left behind. But a small fortune unexpectedly becomes something more when a semi reformed thief and an ex mercenary recruit her into their desperate search for a lost child. Soon they're joined by a baker with a need for adventure. That's funny. And, of course, a slightly magical cat. Tao starts down a new path with companions as big hearted as her fortunes are small. But as she lowers her walls, the shadows of her past close in, and she'll have to decide whether to risk everything to preserve the family she never thought she could have. Oh, found family. No content warnings, of course. I did not expect this to have any. It sounds very cute. I am a little hesitant to make this my month though, because again, like Cozy, I don't necessarily like it because it is a little slow for me, but the cover is gorgeous. So maybe. Let's see. Let's see what the add-on books are. Add-ons. Oh, I wanted to read this one, I think. Oh, and I said that might be there too. Okay, so where were we? These were definitely last time. So I'd say these 5 are new for this month. Yeah. So add-on Bloodguard. Ooh, that's pretty with the stenciling on the side. They don't do that very often. Yep, special limited edition. Oh, for $2 more. Okay. Fantasy by C.C. Robson. Victory is nigh impossible in this arena, but an unlikely ally may just give our gladiator a fighting shot. 400 plus pages, graphic violence, multiple viewpoints, romantasy. 100 years, tens of thousands of gladiators, and today only one will rise. Everything in the kingdom of Arrow is a lie. Laith of Grey thought coming to this new land and volunteering to fight in the gladiator arena, vicious, bloodthirsty tournaments where only the strongest survive, would earn him enough gold to save his dying sister. He thought there was nothing left to lose. He was wrong, and they took everything. His hope, his freedom, his very humanity. All Laith has left is his battle-scarred body, fueled by rage and hardened from years of fighting for the right to live another day. Then Laith meets Maeve, an elven royal who is everything he despises, everything he should hate, until the alluring princess offers him the one thing he needs most, a chance to win the coveted title of Bloodguard and his freedom. But in a kingdom built on secrets and lies, hope doesn't come cheap, nor will his ultimate revenge. No content warnings. I don't know, I'm like tempted to get it just for how pretty it is, but gladiators aren't exactly my thing. The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. Fantasy. I think I might get this. On a quest to find her father, Bristol ventures through magical and perilous Fey lands and forms an unlikely alliance. I don't read a lot of like Fey fantasy though, but 400 plus pages, salacious, magical, and romantasy. After losing both of their parents, Bristol Keats and her sisters struggle to stay afloat in their small, quiet town of Bowes Keep. When Bristol begins to receive letters from an aunt she's never heard of, who promises she can help, she reluctantly agrees to meet and discovers that everything she thought she knew about her family is a lie. Her father might even still be alive, not killed but kidnapped by terrifying creatures and taken to a whole other realm, the one he is from. Oh. Desperate to save her father and find the truth, Bristol journeys to a land of gods and fae and monsters. Pulled into a dangerous world of magic and intrigue, she makes a deadly bargain with a fae leader, Tegan. But what she doesn't know is that he's the one who drove her parents to live a life on the run, and he is just as determined as she is to find her father, dead or alive. No content warnings. Yeah, and this is also like pretty cover, but let's see. I probably won't get this romance, but I could talk about it. Is She Really Going Out with Him by Sophie Cousins. They've had a lot of her books, so I was not surprised this is here. Out dating apps. In letting your kids pick your boyfriends, writing a column about it, and dating your office rival. Happy writer's life, light read, and mama drama. Columnist Anna Appleby has left her love life behind after a painful divorce. Who needs a man when she has two kids, a cat, and uncontested control of the TV remote? Besides, she'd rather be single than subject herself to the hell of online dating. Yeah. But her office rival is vying for a column, and no column means no stable source of income. In a desperate attempt to keep her job, Anna finds herself pitching a unique angle: 7 dates, all found offline, chosen by her children. From awkward encounters to unexpected connections, Anna gamely begins to put herself out there, asking out waiters, the mailman, and even her celebrity crush. But when a romantic connection appears where she least expected it, will she be brave enough to take another chance on love? That sounds... Oh, they've only had one of hers, I guess. That sounds very cute. Again, I don't think I want to own it, but I will definitely want to read it. I knew they'd have this too. They'd have to have this because they had the first one. it makes sense, I guess, that it's an add-on and not a main pick, but Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez in its fantasy. Return to Egypt and watch as our adventurous protagonist seeks justice in this epic follow-up to What the River Knows. I didn't read What the River Knows, so I'm not going to be picking this, but I can still read it for you guys. There's multiple viewpoints, quest, action-packed, second in series. Inez Oliveira traveled across the world to Egypt, seeking answers into her parents' recent and mysterious deaths. But all her searching led her down a perilous road filled with heartache, betrayal, and a dangerous magic that pulled her deep into the past. When Tio Ricardo issues an ultimatum about her inheritance, she's left with only one option to consider: marriage to Whitford Hayes. Former British soldier, her uncle's aide-de-camp, and one-time nemesis, Whit has his own mysterious reasons for staying in Egypt. With her heart on the line, Inez might have to bind her fate to the one person whose secret plans could ruin her. Honestly, I'd like to read this series, but I'm not gonna get the book of the month version when I haven't even read the first one. But it sounds interesting. And then last is Pictures of You by Emma Gray, which is a romance. A tragic car crash took her husband and her memories. Will remembering get in the way of finding love again? Multiple viewpoints, salacious, non-linear timeline, and second chance romance. I don't typically like the second chance romance, so I probably won't make this my book of the month, but let's see what it says. When Evie Hudson wakes in an unfamiliar hospital room, she thinks she's fresh out of a teenage party with her best friend Bree. Well, that would be crazy. Except Bree isn't around anymore and high school was years ago. Evie has just survived the crash that killed her husband Oliver, whom she can't remember either. Oh wow. I don't know why I thought it would be her husband. She has to remember to love him again, but the fact that he's killed, that's crazy. After suffering a traumatic loss of memory, she's left to connect the dots, but how? Enter Drew, a promising photographer whose chance encounter with Evie unravels the elusive details of her marriage and her husband's death. As Drew watches Evie stitch the story of her life together, secrets emerge that might shatter both of their worlds. This tangled second chance romance leads Evie to question every decision she ever made. This time around, she's seen all the things she missed and the life she gets to choose again. I don't know, it sounds kind of sad, but it would be an interesting read, but I'm not going to make it my book of the month. Or, well, I'm not going to make it an add-on. The only add-on I'm seriously considering is The Courting of Bristol Keats, but I would have to get one of these first. Let's see what the member fave options are for me. I don't know, is this different per person? If you have book of the month, let me know if these are your member fave options, or is it does it change per person per month? I'm not sure. But yeah, The Teller of Small Fortunes, that sounds very cute. I'm just a little hesitant to buy it because I am a little bored by the cozy fantasy. Depends how cozy it is, I guess, because it's kind of not very high stakes, and I like my fantasy to be high stakes. But this also, Dinner for Vampires, even though I don't know her, I've never seen One Tree Hill, that sounds really interesting, and I'm really interested to see what her experience was with a cold. I guess I could read that from the library. Dirty Diana also sounds really interesting to me. And the cover's pretty interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm gonna pick, but these are the options. If you have booked the month, let me know what you're picking for November, if you're picking any of these or if you skipped for the month. And I hope you have a happy month reading.